Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Ray.
How you doing?
Well, sort of betwixt,
Okay.
but moving forward with things.
Okay. Okay. All right. So tell me, what's on your mind? What's up?
Well, I'm just on the cusp of possibly picking up a couple of listings.
Good.
And
Good news.
yeah, the one of them is a woman who's used to live in the nearby area, moved out into the valley, and now really wants to move back. She really hates the neighborhood she's in. So I went over and chatted with her, and we looked through her house, and I showed her the paperwork to sign to put the listing together, and she wasn't ready to sign yet. But we've been talking back and forth a little bit,
Okay.
and I'm going to be showing her a condo that's of the right budget for her in the next couple of days
Good.
over here to try to light the fire a little bit.
Sure. Good idea.
So I'm hoping that moves through to fruition, but these things are always so touch and go, and I'm not used to being in this in-between stage.
Meaning what?
Oh,
In between stage.
having something that's almost there but not there yet. No signed paperwork yet.
Sure. Okay. Let me hit the record button first.
Great.
Conference locked. This call is being recorded.
So, what you're experiencing is the excitement, yet the anxiety or frustration of not being able to get instant gratification from all the hard work that you're doing in this business. And that's one of the things about our business is there really isn't a lot of instant gratification. It's about building relationships and trust and creating motivation and urgency with people. And sometimes they don't react as quickly as we react. In other words, our time frame is usually different than their time frame. But know that through the follow-up and the relevancy of each contact with that person is important in bringing you closer to the goal. So, first of all, congratulations on finding the opportunity. Now the challenge is fulfilling the goal. Okay, and it's just a follow-up process. That's the formula. And yes, we get lucky occasionally, and somebody who says, "Hey, come over here and list my house," but it's very rare. You usually have to do some form of follow-up or create more credibility, etc. Okay, so what you're experiencing is very normal.
Okay.
But as you continue to do these things, you become more refined at the skills of converting quicker by what you say and what you do.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah. And that's it's sort of like you feel like you're on skis for the first time or ice skates, for one of the first 2 or 3 times you're out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know it's a good thing, but I'm always catastrophizing.
Of course, yeah, and understandably so. I mean, it's just the nature of the business and understanding. And like I said, the more you deal with that, the more clear it becomes what you have to do.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is absolutely right. Get her motivated, by taking her out and showing what opportunities that she has, but then going back and getting some sort of, call to action. Okay, you've seen that there is opportunities for you, and know that this is the best time for you to consider selling, simply because there's more buyers out there looking at properties. Of course, on the buying side, it could be challenging to her, but I again, by taking her out and showing you that there is opportunity for her to buy, that's the reality of it. So know that you feel more comfortable knowing that there are condos that fit your needs. So let's get the home on the market. Let's get top dollar for it right now. The window's wide open for you getting, the highest price possible
Yeah.
Be more assumptive and more direct about moving forward and having answers, solutions. Make sense?
Yeah, yeah. And I'll just sort of continue to sort of build this sense of knowing, liking, and trusting me parallel to now we need to move forward, and you know, it makes sense for us to go ahead and sign a relationship here so I can start pulling my weight to get your house sold, kind of thing.
Absolutely. So you have a plan in place. You know what needs to be done. The opportunities are greater for you to get top dollar. So let's go out and take a look at where you would be moving to, have clarity on that, and then let's just get the ball rolling.
Yeah. So that's good. I've got another opportunity that I think is going to be as fertile. A gentleman called me to do an appraisal in Westlake nearby that I'm going to go see this afternoon. And he already is living in another building, another part of town. And so I'm assuming, it sounds like he's going to get ready to then sell this downstream. So I had done this once before when people called me for an appraisal, and I just flipped it into a listing by saying, well, let's just do the appraisal to see where the value is, but then let's just get it right on the market so we can get it sold right away. So I think I'm going to go over there with a sort of a listing, with the listing agreement pre-filled out, and have everything in order in case he decides, yeah, I just want to get rid of this, and I'm right there with everything to do that.
Always. Yes. Always. Yeah. You should always be prepared, so I think that's a great idea.
So I was going to use the listing presentation idea of buying a website on GoDaddy in the name of the address.
Yeah.
And then tell them that I'm able to pick up the cost for the Randy Ora's listing from the Tom Ferry seminars of a couple years back. And he did the three things. He had the website, he had the bottle of champagne, and then he said he would pick up the cost of the home warranty while it's listed.
Right.
So I think that those three things together would show a real motivation to him that I'm ready to pick up the ball and run with it for him.
Well, again, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Most definitely, yeah. Show them what you're going to do. You know, create a degree of separation. Have you ever done a home website on a listing?
Well, I've bought a few on GoDaddy, but I haven't actually implemented them yet.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know about the one on GoDaddy. I use one called eProperties.
Oh.
Properties. Yeah. And it's a real simple process. I mean, you just go in and, you know, it's like going to a buffet. You know, you have your selections that you use to to market the property. But you know, it's very effective. You get a writer, you get a website, you get a URL code, you get a text code.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That's good because the GoDaddy one is a pretty universal one, and it's just, I mean, they offer it for free for 30 days. But I think that this looks like this would be a better thing to do, is to go ahead and buy the address from GoDaddy, but then go to eProperties and just open that up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's, I haven't been in it a while, but the eProperties.com, yeah, it should be the website to go to do that. You know, to set up a website for that. I don't know why it's not coming up, but anyway.
But maybe I'm just thinking maybe I should skip the champagne part, because it might be presumptive to this guy if he's expecting an appraiser to show up.
Well, What do you think?
Well, it's easy for me to open up and hand him some of the promotional material that I've done and say, we can sort of save you money at this stage of the game and move right to the next level for you. But if I were to pull out the champagne, that sort of means like I'm really pushing the envelope, I think, too far. But the other things, I think, are easy for him to see that I'm motivated, and maybe I could verbally just suggest, hey, let's get this show on the road here at this point, and then who knows, but that we'll be sharing a bottle of champagne in 30 days.
Well, you could do that too. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's really just about, declaring how important it is to get on the market right now because, the opportunities are increased substantially because of the time of the year, and this is a good time. What's their motivation to sell?
I think it was his wife passed away or his mother. I'm not sure which.
Yeah.
And so he's a little bit bereaved. It sort of sounded like he was, sad because of the passing of, I think it was his mom.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
But I still think that just being there and walking through the place, and he talked about how he's going to have to clean it up, and there's some stuff to throw away, and I can share with him that we've got pages and pages of qualified professionals to help him do this quickly and easily.
Right. So I would create, just an action plan and a call to action, and how can I help you move forward? Because at that time, people sometimes get a little misdirected or they're kind of bewildered with what's going on and they're not thinking clearly, and that you could kind of step in and help them with that.
Yeah, that's true. I could even give him sort of a timeline.
Yeah.
And
I've done that so many times for people.
And fill in the things that I know, and then leave space for the things that I'm not sure of yet. Like,
yes.
If he needs to get a little painting done, and probably does, and probably a little flooring cleaned up at least. Mm-hmm. And it might just answer some questions for him that he's sort of not really sure about because he's been focusing on everything else, the funeral or handling the financial affairs and such like that.
Yeah. It's pretty clear that they want to sell, but, just let them know that there's things you can do to, take some of the load off their schedule.
And still get them the best bang for the buck.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, so just continue to follow up on that for sure.
So that'll work out then. I'm going to circle the wagons around him then too. So between the two of those, there's a good chance that I'm getting up to, at least workable speed.
No, you're definitely going a good direction. So again, just make sure that the conversations, the follow-up is relevant, that you're the problem solver, that you have solutions that will help them. Emphasizing how important it is this time of the year, that obviously if they're going to sell, that this is a great time to do this because the market is more active and there's just more people out there looking, etc.
Now, in following up with them, like for instance, the open house that I did over the weekend.
Yes.
We had about 10 parties come through.
Okay, good.
And I did a video from my phone at the site on the balcony, thanking them for coming, and that if they had any questions, I didn't have your script in front of me, but it's a much better script, so I'll have it always with me in the future. But I basically just said, thanks for coming, and if you have any questions on this property or others, call me at this number. And then I sent it off through my cell phone to the phone numbers as a, what do they call those? Well, anyways, a video text,
yes.
SMS. And so I got that system down now, and then I had some other ones that I was sending that I was going to bring back to the office and send out from here because I only had their email. And so one of the things that that I was concerned about is flooding them and crowding them, because they came to the site. My sign-up sheet, the Open Home Pro, sends them a email saying thanks for coming. Then any further questions, you get this. Then I sent them a video text.
Correct.
And then yesterday I sent a follow-up with a list of lenders to keep in mind. Now, I'm the guy who's been trying to give people 2 weeks to think it over, and so I haven't been able to close anything. But I don't want to do the opposite. I don't want to come off as Mr. Pushy. What would you say would be a good time frame?
Ask the question. You're a little staticky for some reason. I thought it was
sorry.
your phone, but I think it's your phone. Ask me the question one more time.
Okay, the open house is on Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
They get an email back from my sign up service, which just says thanks for coming automatically.
Uh-huh.
Then I send them a video text that evening, Sunday evening.
Perfect. Yes.
Late Monday, they get an email from me with a list of lender contacts.
Okay.
Should I wait a couple days and then dive back in?
Yes, yeah. What you want to do then is just follow up and say, hi, it's James. I just wanted to follow up on the leads that I sent you to talk to lenders. As you know, this is the first step in the process of buying a home. So we want to be able to focus on the things that the lender is suggesting that you do or not do. And also, then it gives us more clarity on where we will be looking for properties. Weekend. Not when can we get together, it's can we get together this weekend.
Yeah. Okay, so
I've cleared my schedule to help you find a home.
Oh, wow. I like that. That's really nice.
Be very assumptive. That works really well. I mean, I have people that are kind of on the fence, and when I call them up and say, I've cleared my schedule this weekend to find you a home. You've talked to the lender. And if they haven't talked to the lender, go, oh, ouch, okay, yeah, got to get that done first. This is the first step in the process. I hate to find you a property that you truly love only to not be prepared. And this is the first step. And if they ask questions, well, why? Just simply say, the first question out of a seller's mouth is your buyer qualified? If they talk to a lender, I don't want to accept the offer and have this, doubt in my mind whether we're going to be able to close the deal because there's complications with you getting qualified for the loan.
Yeah.
You see, or you might be in multiple offer situations, so we want to make sure that you're the right candidate for this property. That you fit all the qualifications of being the right buyer. So just follow up, make sure they talk to a lender, and again, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, understand that there's absolutely no obligation to you whatsoever. So far, there's no cost to you. You don't pay my commission.
Yeah.
I'm just following up and helping you find that property. So talking to the lender is the first step. Then we can focus specifically on the price range and areas that you want to look or buy.
Mm-hmm.
Got my weekend clear for you.
Great. If you could help me with a little bit of a script or a response. One of the parties that came through the condo on Sunday really liked it a lot, came back with her daughter to show her the daughter, started talking about how she was going to renovate the place.
Wow.
It turns out that there was another offer that came in on Friday that opened up escrow on the place.
Okay.
So in talking to her, I shared that let's write a backup offer, and we'll be in a backup position in case the first one falls out for any reason.
Sure.
So we're going to do that.
Okay.
When you do a backup, do you do the backup addendum as well?
Yes, absolutely, because it clarifies, the conditions of it being an offer. Here's the thing about backup offers that people completely misinterpret. A backup offer, like I'll submit a backup offer to an agent, and they go, okay, yeah, we have it, and, we'll call you first if this deal falls apart. No, that's not a backup offer. That's just an offer. A backup offer is, You negotiate it and you accept it with initials and signatures and everything on it, conditional on the first offer canceling within X amount of days, at which time your offer would automatically be kicked in. That's a backup offer.
So we have the seller signing it as officially acknowledging it's a backup offer and that you move to the first position if anything happens.
Correct, yes.
That's a backup offer.
Yeah. And you have initials and signatures. You've come to an agreement contingent on that happening. Correct. So there's no, hey, the first offer's falling apart. We're going to put it back on the market, and we're going to no. You can't. You've already accepted our offer. It's contingent on. We're in the first position, so it's contingent on that canceling and automatically moving us into that position.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no further negotiations at that point. It's just really about canceling or opening escrow and moving forward, meeting the contingency periods, etc.
Okay. Now, this potential buyer had said that she still has to sell her house. Mm-hmm. So, here we go down the rabbit hole. But, and so she said she was going to use Rex. Are you familiar with who Rex is?
No.
Rex is a system that is advertising a lot in San Diego, but they're also out here in Westlake.
Okay.
And it's a company that's trying to be young and hip, and they're saying, we save you 3% or 4% up to $25,000 with each transaction because we only charge you, the seller, 2%. Mm-hmm. And we don't give anything. It's implied we're not giving anything to the buying broker at all. Mm-hmm. So we advertise on the internet through Zillow and such. And so people will come directly to us, and then we'll help them write up their offer for you. So they're basically dual agency on it. And so she's saying, I'm prepared to just use Rex, and then I only have to pay 2%, and then I have more money in my pocket. So I was giving her a little bit of a cautionary tale about the Rex listing that was in Oak Park that I saw. Younger agents, don't have much experience, complications arise, and there's nobody who's really got the expertise to handle them effectively.
Right.
That they'll be dry docked and they'll be stuck in limbo land a lot longer than they should be.
No, you're absolutely right. You hit the nail right on the head, and those are exactly the things that I would say to that person. You need a professional, you need an expert to help represent you in this transaction, because this is a little more complicated than usual.
Yeah.
What is contingent on you selling your property and making sure that everything is done correctly, so you don't lose the condo that you're in love with. This is why you're moving into this condo for these reasons, and to give it to a cut rate broker who's cutting commissions is a very scary thing. These people are just order takers. It's kind of like, okay, for a reduced commission, we'll fill out the purchase contract, we'll email it to whoever, and wait for a response. The follow-up skills, the focus on, handling any situations that come up are at this point being compromised.
Yeah. Now, in addition, when I when I talked to her and I said to her, let me send over the purchase offer for you to sign through DocuSign, and I sent it over with the addendum, and then I got a call from her boyfriend, and he says, well, since you're not doing much work on this, what about cutting your commission from 2.5% on this purchase that we're in backup for? How about cutting the commission? And I said, well, the commission isn't coming from you; it's coming from the seller.
Right.
He says, yeah, but then if you cut your commission, the seller can sell it to my girlfriend for cheaper.
Okay, so how much are they asking you to cut?
Oh, I didn't even go there. I just said, well, I'll think about it.
Yeah.
But
well, first of all, what is the goal here? To save how much money? And perhaps, you could have a conversation with the listing agent. I mean, if that property's been on the market a little while, there might be room to negotiate. So you might be able to save them money up front, on the purchase, or excuse me, on the offer. So say, let me look at some options. So I'd call a listing agent. It's been on the market a long time. Are they somewhat negotiable? You'd recommend maybe coming $5,000 below, which would offset that cost considerably. The advantages are your monthly payments lower and your taxes are going to be less, etc. But then, when you start giving back commissions, I mean, the way I look at it is this way. I'm being paid to represent you to make sure that you're getting the property, that, the goal is fulfilled of getting the property. And, there's a cost for that. And if I would be so willing to give up my commission, what makes you think that I would have the negotiating skills to get you the best price possible if I can't even negotiate my own commission? So, I mean, that's what I start out with.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times if I'm representing a seller and they're buying a property and I'm handling that transaction, I will make some form of concession for them. I might reduce my commission by 0.5%, but then I say, look what the 0.5% covers. It covers the closing costs, or it covers the loan processing fees for you on the loan. So know that that's a big chunk of money that you're saving, and know that I can't give that to you in the form of a check, but I can only give that to you in the form of a credit that you can use for those things.
Yeah.
And that's just how I do it. I'm not in the business to give away commissions or money, because that's what I get paid to do.
Yeah. And I think you just really nailed it down, because even though we're putting it in at an offer of a price, there's still negotiations on everything. Repairs, physical inspection, termites, all of that's still to be negotiated.
Right. And that's where the savings comes, where, by negotiating some of the work conditions that need to be done on the property, how much is that saving you up front by making sure that the seller fixes or corrects those items? Or, if there's room for negotiations on the price, how much does that mean long term in terms of taxes and so on? So I'm doing my job, and I'm getting paid by the seller to do my job. It's not something that's coming out of your pocket. What I'm trying to do is save you money.
Yeah, that's my goal, my focus. I want to be all cylinders running to save you as much money as possible to get you the best price on this home.
Yeah, I am a full-time professional real estate agent, and this is what I do.
Now, it's possible that I could put my foot in the door to get a listing, the listing from them away from Rex as well. If I'm able to maybe work backwards from this thing, say, well, because it's not affecting you at all, and my seller's likely not going to change in price just because of a commission change, and I can't give you cash on the barrelhead, but I can offer to help you with your selling your home. We can possibly work on something there.
Yeah.
And there I could offer a commission cut, quote unquote, subject to my broker's approval.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could do that.
So that might be open an avenue to pursue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we've all had to do it. I don't like to do it, but sometimes we have to make those subtle adjustments to make things to work.
Yeah.
I mean, there's agents that say absolutely not. I'm not going to cut my commission, and here's the reason why, because these are all the things I'm going to do. What do you do for a living? Well, I'm a taxi cab driver. Okay, great. So every time you took someone to a destination and they said, hey, would you do it for $5 less, and you said yes, how much money do you feel you're making at the end of the day? So sometimes, it's like turning it around and saying, what do you do for a living? Would you be willing to cut your paycheck to do what, to get the job? Would you do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like to use that analogy, but I've had to in some cases.
Yeah, and I can see how it's there's a whole lot of another thing that I can do is I can retract the paperwork that I sent to them, and I can say, let's just submit an offer a little bit less, and let's not worry about the commission, but let's worry about negotiating the very best deal for you to get the home.
Right. Well, yeah, and be careful with that only because if you're suggesting a lower price from the list price and they lose it, then you'd have to answer to that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do your due diligence. Talk to the agent. Find out, what the motivation of the seller is. Is there any other offers on the property? Get a feel for if there's any room to negotiate at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that's going to. I think those are some things to do. I need to sit down and write out some script scenarios to respond to them then with that request, and that opens up those other avenues.
Yeah, but keep it moving forward because right now it's all about the momentum and just keeping them engaged, keeping them focused on the task.
Now, she was saying then that she thinks she can get the money together to get a down payment without having to sell her house yet.
Okay.
Although she does want to sell the house.
Yeah.
She's totally motivated towards that.
Uh-huh.
Should I make this subject to her selling the house?
Well, if not, that would be better simply because it gives her a little bit more leverage, a little bit more negotiating power. The seller is more likely to accept the offer because it's not contingent on her selling.
But she really can't. She's, I sent her a list of some lenders, but she's not going to probably be able to get financing separate from without selling her house.
Well, so, Mrs. Seller, you really want this condo, and I understand why you're making the move. Know that you have more leverage by either being on the market and listed for sale when you make the offer, or that you're actually in escrow with your relinquished property or your home now. The seller is more likely to accept your offer. So I highly recommend that we get the property on the market, show proof that it's for sale, and even better that we can present an offer showing that you actually have an accepted offer in your home. This takes a lot of the guesswork out of the seller's decision in accepting your offer because they know you've already done a lot of the groundwork. But to make an offer contingent on you listing the property, not knowing if it's going to sell or if it's priced right or anything, is going to less likely cause the seller to not accept your offer. So let's get the home on the market, start looking at the condos, or we can go look at condos now. If you see something you like, it puts us in a better position to be accepted by the seller of the condo.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think that really helps me a lot because I think it's good to get her involved, get her into the water, get her wet with the thought of writing an offer and being in a backup position. And then now today I should follow up with a call that sort of talks about some of the parameters that we want to do.
Absolutely, your game plan.
So that, we've got a good game plan here that we can jump into and save you money all the way around.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so real quick, be relentless about your follow-up with your open house leads.
Yeah.
Continue to do as many open houses as you possibly can right now. Put yourself in front of as many buyers as possible. I have a lot of success stories from agents right now that are just killing it up at open houses. They're even doing open houses during the week because they're getting a lot of leads. There's a lot of more people out there looking. There's people that want to sell. So put yourself in front of as many as you possibly can. Okay?
Yeah.
Looking at your conversations, I don't see any conversation numbers here. How many people would you say you've talked to since we talked last?
Oh, a dozen.
Okay,
Sure.
12 conversations?
Yeah.
Right. And any conversions to those conversations?
Well, no, not yet.
Okay, all right. So know that we really have to work on that. Okay, remember, I promised you that going into the second year that you're going to see a significant change in your business.
Yeah.
All right, you put your trust in me, and I'm putting my faith in you too.
Good.
Okay, all right. And also the other call we talked about,
Yeah.
really would like to fit that in because I think it would be resourceful for you. So going into April, maybe, on the off week that we don't talk, maybe we can fit you in there for that free call.
Okay. If this Tuesday morning slot might be open on the opposite weeks, that might be easiest.
Yeah, so you are the 2nd and 4th.
Yeah.
So the 1st yeah, you know what? It's funny. There is the 1st and 3rd. No, there isn't. Tuesday's like my most full day.
That's good.
I do have Mondays, like I always have the 2nd and 4th Mondays available. And, maybe we can do something at 9 a.m. on the 2nd or 4th Monday.
Well, that's just the day before our regular call, though.
Oh, I see. Yeah, gotcha.
How about
I could do a Friday or an opposite Monday. So, for example, let's see. You are there. Oh, bear with me 1 second. So, 2nd and 4th. Maybe we could do like a 1st Monday or a 3rd Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are pretty open.
Okay, so let's see. Let me just look real quick. The 9th. April. I'm looking at the wrong month here.
Oh.
April 9th. Okay, Sunday. Okay. So we could do like April 2nd, 4th. We could do like April 3rd at 9 o'clock.
Okay.
Or we could do April 16th.
16th looks like a Sunday.
I'm sorry, that's a Sunday. I mean the 17th, the day after,
Yeah.
at 9 o'clock.
Let's do that if that works for you.
Yeah, let's do that. 9 a.m. the 17th. Okay. All right, and we'll talk before that anyway. But
Okay.
okay.
I'll keep you posted.
Okay, great. Okay, any questions? Don't hesitate to email me or text me.
Thank you, Ray.
Okay, thank you. Good
All right.
luck.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.